afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, the 46th ASEAN Summit officially kicks off in Kuala Lumpur against the backdrop of intensified U.S. tariffs. The camp of the Estrada family seeking justice after Senator Jinggoy Estrada's son and nephew were assaulted in Boracay. Filipina tennis star Eala bows out of her main draw debut at the French Open. And Lilo and Stitch and Tom Cruise team up for a record-breaking box office weekend. Thanks for joining us. We begin with the ongoing 46th ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. President Bongbong Marcos and fellow regional leaders attended the kickoff ceremony this morning. The summit comes against the backdrop of escalating U.S. tariffs and continued tensions in the South China Sea.
We are thankful for the spirit of centrality and the fraternity among ASEAN member states in being able to come together to forge a common front in dealing with these challenges, including the recent initiative or pronouncement on unilateral tariffs from the United States. Quiet engagement matters, and this small and the breach may be fragile, but as they say, in matters of peace, even a fragile breach is better than a widening gulf. I strongly believe in the fortitude and staying power of ASEAN to withstand the headwinds and weather the storms of the challenges and uncertainties facing us.
Marcos has said he will call for a unified ASEAN response to U.S. tariffs. He is also expected to stress Philippine rights and sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea amid China's continued bullying. Representatives of China and Gulf states will join ASEAN leaders in Kuala Lumpur tomorrow. While President Marcos is in Malaysia, Vice President Sara Duterte is heading to Qatar and the Netherlands this week. In Doha, she will meet with Filipino groups and attend a full day of Duterte Thanksgiving events, including a mass and private meetings with their supporters. These will take place tomorrow, May 27, and are organized in part by local Filipino communities. From Qatar, the VP is expected to fly to The Hague to visit her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, detained for crimes against humanity. She earlier said she will celebrate her birthday in The Hague on May 31st and will return home on June 4. What was meant to be a relaxing vacation for the Estrada family turns into a nightmare when the son and nephew of Senator Jinggoy Estrada were assaulted in Boracay. Their camp is now seeking justice. The details from Hannah T.
They're never troublemakers. This is how the mother of Julian Ejercito described him and his cousin Jello Vitug after the two were assaulted in Boracay over the weekend. In a Facebook post, Presi Vitug Ejercito said Julian and Jello are kind, respectful, and humble. She expressed anger and frustration and called the incident heartbreaking, especially since Julian even greeted the attackers with a smile. Julian himself broke his silence. In a Facebook post with a photo showing his bruised face, he said there was no fight and it was an unprovoked attack. He and Jello were already walking home from a peaceful night when one of the suspects threw the first punch. What followed, he says, was a group jumping. And while he's now taking time to rest, he hopes people will stop twisting the story online. What was meant to be a relaxing weekend in Boracay turned into a night of violence for the son and nephew of Senate President pro tempore Jinggoy Estrada. Julian and his cousin were mauled by three young men outside a hotel in Station 2 Balabag around 2:20 a.m. on Saturday. A police report says the two had just left a bar and were walking toward the mall when they were followed by the suspects. In front of a hotel, the men attacked without warning. A police officer on patrol responded, but the suspects escaped. Julian sustained a head injury and lost a toenail after being kicked repeatedly. A follow-up investigation revealed the three suspects are all locals of Boracay, ages 18 to 19. The senator flew to the island the next day to fetch his son and attend the filing of charges. The suspects now face a case of less serious physical injuries and remain under police custody. The senator says no parent wants to hear their loved ones become victims of violence in a place meant for relaxation. He trusts that justice will be served and hopes this incident is a reminder to make spaces like Boracay safer for all. Hannah Tia, Billionario News Channel.
Government officials and police are working to address the rise in crime in Taguig and Makati. Among the targets, Korean nationals. Our mobile journalist Joan Manalo has this story.
Police visibility has been heightened at Bonifacio Global City in Taguig, following a robbery incident involving several Korean nationals, including a businessman. According to Taguig City PNP spokesperson Cherilyn Agtarap, more police officers will be deployed in BGC, especially during nighttime and early morning hours, to ensure that no criminals slip through.
Meron naman po talaga tayong mga personnel po na naka-deployed po dyan. Nagdagdag pa din po tayo nang sa ganun po mas since kasi di po ba napakalaki naman po talaga ng BGC. So kahit super dami po ng mga PNP personnel natin dyan, parang may instances po na katulad niyan, di po ba? So dinagdagan pa din po natin yung police visibility dun sa area. And then nakipag-coordinate din po tayo sa mga security personnel po ng BGC na kung sakali pong may ganyang incident, makapag-report agad nang sa ganun, agad-agad din po nating matugunan.
She added that they will also deploy members of the District Mobile Battalion from the Southern Police District. Based on records, robbery incidents have been frequently reported around BGC. Another incident occurred at 9th Avenue, corner 11th Drive, around 11:40 p.m. on May 17, where Korean nationals were held up by motorcycle-riding suspects. The suspects took off with 2 luxury crossbody bags owned by the Koreans, valued at over 200,000 pesos.
Identified na po itong mga suspects natin and nakapag-file na rin po ng charges. Nagkaroon din po ng follow-up. So nag-backtracking and forward tracking na din po para sa possible na mga nadaanan nitong suspects natin. Nang sa ganun, since ongoing naman po yung investigation pa din, malocate po agad at ma-arrest po itong suspects po natin.
Agtarap also emphasized that the CCTV footage and witnesses' statements helped identify the suspects quickly. In light of the incidents, a meeting was also held between PAOK, DOT, and PNP, along with officials from the Korean embassy. PAOK said in a statement that they will tighten security at tourist security desks nationwide to prevent similar incidents. The agency also listed recommendations for the PNP, including the installation of multilingual safety signage at airports, hotels, and terminals, and training on tourist security management. Meanwhile, the South Korean embassy has also advised Korean nationals in the Philippines to avoid going out late at night for their safety. A building circular was also issued by 2 Lafayette Square condominium in Salcedo Village amid a reported increase in hold-up incidents in the area. According to the condo management, one of their tenants nearly fell victim to riding in tandem suspects, but was immediately assisted by the building security personnel. Given these incidents, the PNP said that the public can expect heightened monitoring from law enforcement agencies to ensure the safety of residents and tourists across the country. Joan Manalo, Billionario News Channel.
The Interior Department also intensifying police security measures amid the rise in crime incidents. Let's get details from Andrea Salve on the line from Manila. Andrea, go ahead.
Mai, 1 week after President Bongbong Marcos issued his directive to the DILG, Interior Secretary John Rimulya today led the launch of an intensified police visibility program, starting with the NCRPO. As early as 4 a.m., over 1,100 police personnel and force multipliers gathered at the NCRPO grandstand in Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City. Among them were barangay captains, tanods, and XOs, forming an integrated force aimed at deterring crime. Secretary Rimulya pointed out a disconnect between the PNP's crime statistics and the public's perception of safety, emphasizing the need to bridge that gap. He visited key locations, including the Bonifacio Global City Police Substation and the Quezon City Police District headquarters. At QCPD, officers showcased their command center's real-time monitoring capabilities through cameras and drones. Remulla expressed satisfaction with their crisis response, but stressed the importance of implementing this system nationwide. The DILG plans to roll out a program to key regions in the coming weeks, particularly regions 1, 3, 4, 7, and BARM. Upcoming initiatives include a unified public safety system, a nationwide centralized 911 emergency hotline, and a new evaluation system for police performance. NCRPO Chief Police Major General Anthony Abrin said police deployment has been increased, with the duty shifts adjusted to start earlier. Mai?
Andrea, aside from BGC and Makati, are there any other areas in Metro Manila that are experiencing a rise in crime incidents?
Mai will have to check the figures from NCRPO yet, but earlier they actually reported a decrease in crime incidents in the metro. According to NCRPO Chief Abrin, the figures went down to 23.3% from November 23, 2024 to May 23, 2025. Mai?
Thank you, Andrea Salve, reporting from Manila. After being suspended for 3 years, the No Contact Apprehension Policy, or NCAP, is being re-implemented starting today. It is being enforced on major roads including EDSA, C5, and Rojas Boulevard. Under the policy, the MMDA will use CCTVs to detect driving violations and will send notices of violation to registered addresses of vehicle owners. The Supreme Court halted the NCAP's implementation in 2022 after transport groups challenged its constitutionality. The court lifted the TRO last week. Officials are laying out their plans to ease the expected traffic nightmare when the EDSA rehabilitation begins next month. For details, our mobility correspondent, G. Baroga, joins us live from the MMDA headquarters in Pasig City. G, what's the plan?
Mai, the EDSA Rebuild project will finally push through next month, with transport agencies stressing that there is a need to reconstruct EDSA once and for all, not only for motorists but for pedestrians as well. To help ease traffic, the MMDA will implement an odd-even scheme on EDSA starting June 16 for 24 hours, where vehicles with plate number ending in 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 will be prohibited every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, while those ending in 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8 should be off on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. There will be no restriction during Sundays.
Ito po ay ginagawa natin dahil expected po na with this scheme ay magkakaroon po ng 40% reduction ng vehicle sa EDSA. Again, yung sa mga roads, aside from EDSA, kung ano po yung number coding scheme sa ngayon, yun pa rin po yung mag-govern.
Public Works and Highways Secretary Manny Bonoan says the preparatory works for the massive project will begin on June 13. There will be no construction yet, but mobilization of equipment needed will be done as well as identifying the sections for reconstruction. Bonoan adds the actual reconstruction will start 1 or 2 weeks after, with the northbound and southbound sections from Pasay to Guadalupe as the priority, as well as the southbound lane of the EDSA carousel. With the ASEAN meeting set in 2026, construction will be focused on other parts of EDSA.
There are sections na sa tingin namin hindi naman makaka-apekto ng gano'n ng traffic during the ASEAN meeting. So siguro dito sa may banda ng Balintawak to Caloocan, pwede rin namin kumpunihin yung mga ibang sections dyan eventually.
Bonoan also shares the methodology to be done for the construction. It will start in the innermost lane, which is the existing bus lane, which will be moved 1 lane out and will remain dedicated for buses. Once that is completed, the busway will be moved back to its original place and construction will commence on the next lane until the outer lane. The free toll in segments of Skyway which motorists can use as alternate routes will start when full construction has started, which according to Transport Secretary Vince Dizon is around July or August. There will be additional 100 buses on the EDSA carousel and more trains at the MRT3, giving motorists an option to use mass transport.
Pinapabilis natin yung pila. No? So sa mga darating na linggo, ikokompleto na natin yung pagtanggal ng mga X-ray para bumilis ang pila sa ating mga MRT stations. Ngayon kasi, sinusubukan pa lang natin ito sa 2 istasyon.
The MMDA will also post the complete list of alternate routes on their social media pages so motorists can plan their trips ahead. The DPWH says they target to complete the EDSA rebuild by 2027. Mai?
All right, thank you. Jibaroga reporting from Pasig City. A ship carrying hazardous cargo runs into trouble and sinks off the coast of Kerala in India. The Liberian-flagged vessel was also carrying 370 tons of fuel and oil, but officials say no oil spill has been reported so far. All 24 crew, including Filipinos, are now safe, but the rescue efforts weren't easy.
The situation that we faced at that point of time, the challenges that we faced were that we had adverse conditions. We had wind speeds gusting up to 40 knots. We had debris in the water. We had containers in the water, which made approaching the ship, and particularly at night time, very difficult.
On to the war in Ukraine as U.S. President Donald Trump slams Russia's weekend bombing and says he's not happy with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. At least 12 people were killed in the drone and missile attack launched by Russia on Sunday. It's considered the largest aerial attack in the conflict so far.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Trump has been trying to broker a truce between Russia and Ukraine. He's now considering imposing more sanctions on Moscow. President Trump agrees to delay a 50% tariff on European Union imports until July 9. This followed a phone call with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Trump says she requested the extension as the bloc needed more time to reach a good deal.
We had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it. I believe June 9th would be, July 9th would be the date. That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
On X, von der Leyen asserts the EU and US share the world's most consequential and close trade relationship. She adds Europe is ready to advance talks swiftly and decisively. Britain's King Charles is off to Canada today, his first visit there since being crowned more than 2 years ago. Prime Minister Mark Carney invited Charles to deliver the throne speech to open Parliament in Ottawa Tuesday. This will be the first time that a British monarch will carry out the duty since Charles's mother, the late Queen Elizabeth, did so 68 years ago. The King's visit is seen as a highly symbolic trip aiming to show support for the nation that recognizes him as its sovereign. That's as U.S. President Trump has repeatedly expressed a desire to make Canada the 51st American state. We're taking a break. Still to come, Billionario Congressman Mikey Romero makes it to the top 25 of the World Polo Tour Amateur Rankings. Sports and entertainment news next. This is Newsfeed at noon. You're still watching Newsfeed at noon. Time now for sports news. A valiant effort from Filipino tennis star Alex Eala as she bows out of her main draw debut at the French Open. The 20-year-old struggled with rain and errors at Roland Garros, though she fought back after a first-set shutout against Colombia's Emiliana Arango. The Pinay ace took the second set 6-2 and was leading 3-1 in set 3 when rain stopped the match and halted her momentum. Arango took over after the delay and sealed the match. Still at the French Open, as the tournament's greatest champion, Rafael Nadal receives a tribute. The King of Clay was honored at Roland Garros with friends and rivals Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, and Andy Murray joining thousands in attendance. The Spanish legend became emotional after he watched a short film about his journey and triumph in the Clay Court Classic. Nadal, who retired after his campaign last year, is the French Open's most decorated champion with 14 titles.
I couldn't expect a more emotional day, so I can't thank enough to the president, to Gilles, to Amélie, and to all the people who made that day possible. Honestly, have been unforgettable, plenty of emotions. For a guy like me that, I don't love this kind of things because I'm still a little bit shy for all this stuff. And, I don't like a lot to be the center of attention for these things. I was enough when I was playing tennis, but I enjoy it, honestly.
A breakthrough for Lando Norris as he wins the Monaco Grand Prix for the first time. The British star edged out Ferrari's Charles Leclerc and his McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri. Norris also slashed Piastri's lead to 3 points in a race that was more about strategy than speed. It was Norris's second victory in 8 races and the first since the Australian season opener in March. This was McLaren's first victory at Monaco since 2008. Billionaire Congressman Mikey Romero adds a new distinction to his resume, the best amateur polo player in Southeast Asia. The Filipino sports patron overtook the son of the Sultan of Brunei and the heir to Thailand's King Power Empire in the latest World Polo Tour amateur rankings. Romero surged to number 24 with 110 points. This follows a spectacular debut at this year's Gauntlet of Polo in Florida, with his team Global Port Polo becoming the first full Asian squad to compete at this level. And Gilas Pilipinas youth remains undefeated so far in the FIBA Under-16 Asia Cup Sayaba qualifiers. Gilas youth showed no mercy, defeating Thailand by 45 points, 87-42, for their second straight win in the tournament. Carl Gabriel de los Reyes led the Young Guns with 16 points and 9 rebounds, while Prince Carino added 15 points and 7 boards. Gilas youth under head coach L.A. Tenorio seeks to make it 3-0 in their next assignment against Singapore. And before we go, Lilo and Stitch and Tom Cruise team up for a record-breaking Memorial Day box office weekend. The two films pulled in a whopping $494 million in ticket sales worldwide. Disney's live-action Lilo and Stitch led the charge with over $300 million globally, breaking records for a family film. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning added another $190 million to the box office, outperforming previous franchise hits. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Billionaire News Channel. Good afternoon.